Welcome back to Dice and Pixels, episode 47. We're all back at the table here. Good to talk to you about the PlayStation Showcase this past week, as well as some of Adrian's unfortunate experiences with the Mass Effect series, as well as Sarah's little trip in the Ignite RP.
You wouldn't like me when I'm angry.
Yeah, you were pretty pissed off.
Let's talk about the Sony stuff first.
Yeah.
First of all,
Cat Quest 3.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, so if you haven't watched it, don't. Yeah, I think is the short version.
Yeah.
It's almost hard to say it was bad because it was just nothing. It was just a whole lot of game trailers, literally back to back.
Yeah.
And then we'll tell you about the rest of it later. It was the weirdest event ever. But I mean, there's a whole list of games.
Yeah.
Which I think they should have just dumped those trailers. I don't think they should have had an event for it, but they did dump a whole bunch of game trailers. So,
well, and considering that the Summer Games Fest is like right around the corner too, it's Sony, like everybody does their own little private showcases. Xbox does their own thing, Nintendo does their own thing. So I think this is kind of like Sony's trying to whet the appetite of some people before they actually get in, because we were talking about some of the announcement they'd make, and then they mentioned something about a controller at the end, and then that was all you heard from it.
That was the weirdest part to me, was they went through all these games and everything else, and it's like, okay, they're building up. Our candle just died.
Aww.
They're building up to this. They're building up to this. They're building up to this. And then at the end, they were like, oh, and we're working on a couple controllers, but, don't worry about that. We'll tell you later. And it's like, but what? And the weird thing is is Leonardo, did they rename Leonardo Project Q, or does it have a real name now? I think it has a real name now.
Project Q was the code name for their game streaming device.
Yeah, so the Leonardo now actually has a legitimate name. If one of you wants to look that up, I'm going to try while I'm talking. But the
Access controller.
The Access, yeah, I knew it was something, a play on that.
Yeah. And that was something that we talked about before.
Yeah.
You had seen, or maybe we all, I can't remember. It was from something, but we seen it.
Yep.
And it's like for people with disabilities or whatever. It's just their way. It's something that allows them to continue playing.
Yeah, it's an accessibility controller. Yeah. And I was correct about the jacks. They showed the aux jacks on the side, and those are for custom controls. They're for custom switches and everything.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
We think it's a great idea.
I think it's awesome.
The thing that I tweeted was just make sure it will connect over Bluetooth to a PC, because, don't be assholes.
Yeah, make it usable on everything.
Right.
Why the hell not?
Just don't be jerks.
Yep.
But weirdly, that came out, the information on that came out before the event, because I tweeted about it before the event even happened. So why didn't you take that information, which was interesting, and release it during the event, where it would have made your event not the event was just nothing. It was just game trailers.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there's lots of people who will say oh, I'm super excited about Spider-Man, or I'm super excited about Metal Gear. That's great. The problem is, I would be shocked if there was a single person in the entire world who cared about all of those games.
Yeah.
Right?
It's a huge range of
2-3 of them, sure. 4 or 5 maybe.
I care about some of them.
Some.
Some, yes.
Not all. That's
no.
kind of my point. Instead of doing 40 minutes of game trailers back to back, just release them all on YouTube and let us pick and choose the ones that we care about. Because otherwise, you're just kind of boring me for a while.
Yeah.
I found 2 or 3 of them interesting. I don't care about the Spider-Man game, but the Metal Gear Solid's kind of cool. Cat Quest is interesting. I'm interested in some of them.
Yeah.
But not all of them.
Yeah. I mean, the Spider-Man 2 gameplay trailer that they showed was cool. I really dug the Spider-Man game and Miles Morales. I I know you're not a fan of Spider-Man.
Lots of people do. Like
Yeah.
I'm in the minority on that, big time.
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to see what they do with the second one here. They did say that it's a single player experience.
Mhm.
So for those of us that were hoping to get like dual Spider-Man action, co-op fucking playing through this stuff, nope, doesn't look like it.
So you'll only need 2 online accounts and a consistent internet connection to play it, is what you're saying.
Yeah. But I mean, it looks cool. They showed some footage of Kraven the Hunter as one of the villains of the game. I mean, the symbiote suit's there, so gee, I wonder who's going to be in this one.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
You know,
I mean, it looked pretty, and
Oh, yeah.
don't get me wrong, I am sure it's going to be a good game. I personally don't
Yep.
care about Spider-Man to begin with,
Yep.
so I'm
That's
like,
fair. Yep.
and I like Insomniac Studios is like one of those top tier.
they're great.
They're
Mhm.
fucking they are up there, man. So
Yeah.
I mean, pretty much everything they do is really, really great. So
Yeah, and I mean, like I said, like many people loved the Spider-Man game. Like
Mhm.
I know I'm in the minority on
Mhm.
that one. That's fine.
Yeah.
But like nobody liked all of those games.
Yeah.
There might have been 1 or 2 people in the world, but nobody liked all of those games. So why bother? Like the controller, like the access, like fine. Some people might have found that uninteresting, but at least that's like, hey, here's something new we're doing. Here's something new
Yeah.
we're doing.
It feels and it's unique to well, as far as we're aware, it's pretty unique to this generation of game consoles at this point. So like, why wouldn't you make that a bigger headline?
Yeah. It
And
was
put it in
weird
when
that
you're
they-
in your main showcase.
a little weird.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because like PC, there's been those sorts of controllers for a long time. Nothing
Mhm.
that polished, I don't think.
No,
Mhm.
But
for console.
for consoles, it is new.
Yeah.
I haven't seen anything quite like it. I mean, third party, who knows, right? But like
Yeah.
certainly first party hardware, I've never seen anything like it.
I do hope to just with that controller. I really hope that some game developers take advantage of it and just the style. Like the first thing that pops into my head is like flight sims or space combat, and
Yeah.
just utilize it so that it's almost like even if somebody that doesn't have like disability issues can just use that as like a different means to kind of immerse yourself into the game
Mhm.
Yeah,
or
well,
a game.
So like we said when we talked about it a long time ago, like anything you can do with an accessibility accessory to make it attractive to the general public as well is awesome.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So yeah, like if that like flight sim is one of the first things I thought of too, because it's got those aux jacks. And it's like, okay, so like can I attach like a throttle assembly
Mhm.
and like pitch yaw control or something to it and then use the buttons? Like that would be a pretty compelling way to play a flight sim on consoles, which have never worked properly.
Yeah.
Like nobody plays flight sims on consoles because I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Flying in general on consoles sucks.
And it might not change with this. Like
No.
it isn't that this is not the same as like a full on setup, but like it's a start.
Mhm.
Can I attach a steering wheel to it? Can I like a steering wheel and some pedals? Because
Yeah.
then maybe we're talking good racing. I don't
Yeah.
know, right?
Yep.
If it's useful for other stuff, that's great.
Mhm.
More people will buy it. It'll drive the cost down for everybody, including the people who actually specifically need it.
Mhm.
And I think that's great. I think it could be an amazing controller.
Absolutely. And speaking of controllers, let's stay on this track here and let's talk about the PlayStation Switch. I mean, the Project Q that it's codenamed right now.
The worst version of the PlayStation Switch.
Yeah. This isn't really. I wasn't expecting this, to be honest. I didn't think. I mean, so it's basically a Nintendo's or like a Steam Deck, or it's got a big,
More
nice.
like a Steam Deck than a
Yeah.
Switch.
Mhm.
But the ends are PlayStation 5 DualSense controller.
Yeah. I'm sure people have probably seen it by
Yeah.
now, but it is literally you slice a PS5 controller
Yeah.
down the middle and put a
Screen in there instead of the touchpad.
which
So,
is fine. Like I mean, this was rumored for a while. We
Mhm.
kind of knew this was something of this nature was coming.
we talked about it a few
Yeah.
weeks back. So
It's the fact that it doesn't look like the controller sides detach at all mean that it's like a worse version of the Switch.
Yeah.
mhm.
And
Oh, it's the PlayStation 5 U.
Yeah, you're not wrong. Yeah. But overall, like that's fine. Like the PlayStation 5 controller is good.
Mhm.
Mhm.
don't think too many people are going to complain about it being. You had some
looking
misgivings.
I don't know, looking at it where the thumbsticks are compared to the screen,
Feels unnatural.
it looks like it's going to feel unnatural, or like it's going to press onto your fingers if you're holding it certain ways. I don't know. I don't know if it's like curved and, well,
it's flat on the back. Like they do like a panoramic view of the device, and it's got a flat back to it. So I think it's going to be comfortable as hell. Like,
Well,
I think
I
it'll be
don't know.
great.
We'll see when it comes out. I actually.
Sorry. Great.
Yeah.
I think it'll be
See,
comfortable.
it feels
Yeah, no,
like that.
I agree with
like
you.
it will be
Yeah.
you're just fingers pressed right against it.
I agree with you. Like something that's even like sort of knurled and soft, like you press against it for long enough and it sucks, right?
Yeah.
So, I think that is potentially a concern,
Mhm.
especially for people with bigger meat paws.
Yep.
I don't know, man. The contours of it look like that you wouldn't have that at all.
That wasn't the impression that I got, but I mean, we'll see, right? Like, first of all, presumably there's a reason that they didn't say more than, oh, by the way, this exists.
Like, give it a name.
Yeah, like presumably this is not the final version of
I
it,
would
so-
certainly hope not, because it literally looks like they just went into
right.
like Photoshop or whatever programming they use and then just
Yeah.
cut it all up and made a mock-up.
So some things that I would love to see built into this, and I don't actually expect it to be, but some things that I would love to see. I would love to see the screen be tiltable,
Ooh,
so that
yeah.
you can effectively tilt the controllers relative to the screen, so that you can find a more comfortable. Like the Switch solved that by being detachable.
Yep.
This doesn't. This sure as hell doesn't look detachable.
No.
So a good mix, a good sort of option would be to at least allow you to swivel it a little bit.
Yep.
Yeah.
But for the love of God, don't make that a control scheme, because people will use it and it will be terrible. Like don't make it so that you can actually control something by twisting it. That would be horrible.
Didn't someone do that?
Something used that. I
Yeah.
don't remember what, but
I can't remember.
there was definitely a controller that allowed you to do that.
And it just was absolute junk anyway.
Yeah. But yeah, it's this is going to be like one of those wait and see things. Like, I mean,
I have faith that it will be comfortable. I agree with Sarah that I'm not convinced the current iteration looks comfortable. At the same time, they did so much work on their controller. I would be shocked if they released something that sucks.
Yeah, they're
on that front.
They're hell bent on having their basically their theme for all of their hardware and stuff this console generation.
Yeah.
And it's going to go quite well with their new earbuds as well.
Well, hang on before we get to the earbuds, because we're gonna shit on those. So this I still don't think this will work. This console thing, like, so maybe it will work, but I had the Vita and the PlayStation TV. That's the thing that I mentioned like weeks ago that I couldn't remember what it was called. I found it. It's over there. I might even grab it and throw a picture up. We'll see. It's like this big. It's super tiny. And all it was like a Vita internals, but without any of the screen or anything else, and without the battery. So it was just the Vita chip. And you could play remote over the network. But it was Wi-Fi only and everything else. Cool. Super great. It never fucking worked because Wi-Fi, for whatever reason, streaming games over Wi-Fi is incredibly unreliable.
Yeah.
I've tried it on multiple routers, multiple houses. It doesn't work. Doesn't work with the Steam Deck. Does not work. So like the fact that this thing's only stick is it like
Blech.
It'll stream games over Wi-Fi. I'm like, but will it?
Will it?
I don't believe you.
Yeah.
I've never had a device, and like I said, this is across multiple routers, multiple houses, like I have never had a Wi-Fi streaming, a truly good. Okay, sure. Like I will play games from time to time on my laptop, streamed from like the gaming PC down here. It's fine, but it's not good. And if I'm gonna buy something that can only stream games, it damn well better be good.
Work, yeah.
So that's my take on this. Like in theory, I think it could be really good, and I would actually use this. I don't have a PS5, so I won't personally. But this is the sort of thing that I would use. one of the reasons I bought the Steam Deck was because I was actually excited about using the remote play,
Mhm.
but it's not that reliable, so I don't use it.
Yeah.
Fortunately, it can play games pretty well on its own. This literally can't. So now we can rant about headphones.
Yeah, the earbuds. Why?
Right? I think that sums it up.
I mean, like, there's so
I mean,
many.
they're kind of neat looking to begin
Sure,
with, but,
yeah,
but
but-
like the matchy with the PlayStation 5, and I like the container they come in, but what the hell is the fucking point?
Well, when the PlayStation 5 initially released, they had their basically their PS5 version of like the Sony Gold headset, like released at the same time.
Yeah.
So, like
So-
earbuds, just because everybody wants earbuds now.
No, so I can tell you why. It's because they're going to package them in a bundle with the Project Q.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
That's why they're
Yeah.
making them. They're still stupid as hell.
Yes.
Because everybody already has wireless earbuds.
Yeah.
And like they're not going to I hope they're not going to like force you to buy them with the Project Q, because that would just be added
Oh, God.
cost for no
Can
reason.
you
Yeah.
imagine if that thing doesn't even have like a fucking headphone jack?
Well, it may or
Oh.
may not have a headphone jack, but it'll definitely have Bluetooth.
Yeah, Bluetooth. But
Yeah.
I wouldn't be shocked if it doesn't have a headphone
Yeah.
jack. It probably should, but it may not. But it'll at least, it damn well better support Bluetooth headsets. And I think pretty much everyone has a goddamn Bluetooth headset
Yeah.
at this point.
But the only Bluetooth headset that this
That
Project Q will
match.
use
Yeah.
will be the Sony earbuds.
Or
If
just Sony products in general.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if they were to lock it somehow, that would just be. I think
That
they would
would-
lose
Yeah.
customers.
Yeah,
over
oh,
that.
100%.
But like presumably that'll be one of the things, is that there will be a bundle that includes the themed, and some people will buy it because don't get me wrong, aesthetics are worth something, right?
Yeah.
Like I've bought things because they look nicer.
Mhm.
I spent extra money on a Soda Stream thing because it wasn't a Soda Stream, because it was brushed stainless instead
Yeah.
of plastic. I'm not immune to this. I'm not judging. But at the same time, Bluetooth headsets have been done.
We don't need any more.
Yep.
Well, what I said earlier, you know how I found out about Bluetooth this wire, or what was it that I said?
You know
said-
how I found out about Sony's Bluetooth earbuds?
buds through my noise canceling Bluetooth
That's
buds.
right.
Yeah.
By listening to their fucking announcement through
Yeah.
my Bluetooth headset.
Yeah.
So look, Sony's not the worst company in the world to build headphones. They
Yeah.
they do audio.
Yeah.
Some.
Yep.
But why, like we said, like if they had done this when the PS4 came out or the PS3, cool.
Yeah.
It's a little frickin' late to be doing Bluetooth headset.
Yeah.
Yep.
Bluetooth earphones. They're not headset, but
Yeah.
well, actually, I assume they must have a mic in them.
I
I
don't
would
know.
assume,
I would assume so.
right? Like,
Process audio,
Yeah.
Oh, didn't reveal too much.
yeah,
Yeah,
they would be
Additional details in the coming months
if
ahead.
they don't have a microphone, it's even more WTF.
Yeah. I can't wait for that bundle though. That'll have like the PlayStation 5, the VR2, the Project Q, and the earbuds all in one for a nice affordable price of like $2,000.
Well, so what they'll do if they're intelligent is they'll offer that for a monthly fee.
Yeah.
They'll do like a 3-year financing at like $50 a month or something.
You
Like-
can do that with the Xbox.
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
Series X through GameStop here in
Yeah.
Canada.
Yeah, and if Sony's at all intelligent, they'll do the same sort of thing through GameStop. It'll be like or maybe through Sony directly. They'll
Yeah.
be like,
Mhm.
get everything and all of then these 3 games or whatever, and just like have everything you need to play anywhere. It'll be the Play Anywhere bundle, and they'll do it. I'm sure
Yeah.
they'll do
Yep.
it. And it'll be stupid, but people will buy it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because whatever.
Yep.
That's fine. But
Yeah.
for the love of God, we don't need another
No.
set of Bluetooth headsets.
I
Oh.
mean, if nothing else, people would buy it just because they can do it on a payment plan, and that alone, I think, is worth it.
Yeah. And I think that is something, there is something to be said for that, where if you can, as a heartless corporation, if you can milk people for a little bit extra by bundling in things that they don't really need at all or even necessarily
No.
want, but you can get a little bit higher monthly fee out of them
Yeah.
because they can put it on a payment plan. I mean, that's smart.
Yeah.
It's soulless a little bit, but it's smart.
But well,
So-
you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, let's talk about some games. let's talk about some games.
Which of the games that pissed me off this week would no?
Well, no,
you start.
Yeah, well, I'm going to just keep going. They announced there's a Metal Gear Solid Snake Eater remake.
Oh, I got you.
Which, I mean, okay, I think a lot of people were kind of expecting the original Metal Gear Solid remake.
Yeah,
But
go ahead.
I'm also not surprised that it's this because Snake Eater was one of the more well-received installments of the Metal Gear Solid series.
Yeah.
It was the first that kind of gave you the freedom to do, certain things your own way.
Sure.
With the various camouflages that you can wear and stuff. And it's all in a jungle as opposed to a snowy landscape that Metal Gear Solid 1 was based in.
Sure. Yeah.
So
I hold out hope in general that companies are just starting to learn about remakes and I said this about Ocarina of Time.
Yeah.
Same deal.
Mm-hmm.
The right thing to do is just make it and release it.
Yep.
They should still do, and they may still do a Metal Gear 1 remake. Don't announce it. Just drop it.
Yeah.
It doesn't need a hype cycle. It'll build its own.
Yeah. And
It already has a hype cycle because
Exactly.
it's already beloved.
Yeah.
And I really hope they do because Metal Gear Solid 1, it's one of those games that when it first came out, I bought it, I played the living hell out of it, and then my brother wanted to borrow it, but I still wasn't done with it, so I went out and I bought another copy of it.
Yeah.
It's one of those games that just stands out where, I remember where I was, I remember where I got it. It was a timeless classic. And I know they did a remake called The Twin Snakes, and it was on the GameCube.
Yeah.
But I mean, a full-blown next-gen remake would be awesome.
I'm sure they will do it. But also keep in mind that Sony and Microsoft both consider that these are going to be 10-year consoles, and it's on year 3.
Mm-hmm.
So they got to keep some of the hype for later. That may be a year 6 release because they can release that anytime and people will love it.
Yeah.
So if they have a slow year, which admittedly by the looks of that announcement, they kind of are having a slow year, but I'm sure that's not fair. I just, they may drop that some other year. They may even have it already done for all we know.
Yeah.
And just waiting to drop it.
I just had a thought, and it's a little bit of a tangent. Do you think it might be a bit of a slow year because COVID restrictions from then are catching up with this now at this point? Do you think, or was that more last year?
I thought you were talking about just because there's been so many goddamn remakes.
No.
Well, so I think there's some of that. I think that there are a lot of people who played a whole lot of video games and are maybe starting to swing back to not quite as many video games.
Yeah.
I also think there are a lot of people who are deciding whether they want the latest game or whether they want to pay their rent.
Yes.
Which probably doesn't help.
But I was also thinking in terms of what is being released at this point.
Oh, you mean the development cycle may have gone?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't put it past it, but having worked in development all along, it didn't slow. There was no reason for it to slow down projects. That doesn't mean it didn't, but everyone who was doing development and art assets and stuff should have been able to work from home pretty effectively.
Yep.
It wouldn't shock me, but there's no good reason for it.
So it's more consumer side of things.
Probably. I mean, it could be some of both, but I do know that household spending has been dropping off a cliff in the last few months because, oddly enough,
rent's fucking high.
Well, everything's gone up. Rent, especially here in Canada and any major city, especially rents through the roof and everything. So disposable income, when you're asking $80, $90, $100 for a game, it's gonna reduce your sales.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Which I think is where games like Cat Quest probably come in at a lower price point. They'll probably sell more than they might otherwise.
Mm-hmm.
I'm actually looking forward to Helldivers. Was the other one
too? Yeah.
Because I played the shit out of Helldivers. Loved it. 2 looks like a full-on action game, not like the top-down drop game like it was.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll still check it out. I'm curious.
Do you want to introduce people that may or may not know what this game is about?
So
not asking for anyone specifically.
Well, so the first Helldivers was you have a squad of I think up to 4 players, and it was like a class light classes. So you just picked your class going in, and you could change your equipment loadout a little bit. And you just it was basically point A to point B with a couple of objectives in the middle. And it was just like a top-down, sort of like Diablo-ish top-down map.
Yep.
And you were just, think Starship Troopers, but in a Diablo-style-ish game with guns and bombs and
That
grenades.
sounds fun.
Super fun. And it was online, so there was a matchmaking component and
Yep.
everything else, but you could also play with your friends. And the DLC slash purchases
Mhm.
were like reasonably tame. It was like, buy this gun pack for like $4. You know, buy access to this new class for like $5.
Yeah.
It wasn't like $80 to unlock this gun. So it had quite a following, and
Mhm.
it's a great game. The new one looks, from what I saw, it looks like it's not the same in that it's like it's more like a Halo in that it's an open world. Well, I don't know how open world is, but it's
Mhm.
like
Mhm.
fully 3D, not top down.
Yeah, a lot of the trailer footage kind of looked like it was more of like a, unless they're just showing those
It's hard to
angles.
say.
Yeah,
Yeah, right.
yeah.
Like we
Yeah.
don't know.
Yeah.
It could be sort of cinematic, and it will still be, but it would be a little misleading to show it in that light and then have it top down.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I'll be looking into it more as
Yeah,
time goes by.
That sounds really cool.
It was a great game, and I would
Is-
love to try the sequel.
Is the original still playable?
I would
someplace?
assume
Yeah, it's
so.
on everything.
We should play it sometime.
Yeah, we totally should.
Maybe we'll
could,
do it. We'll do
next
it
time
for
we
like a
do
Wednesday night stream.
Yeah, next
Yeah.
time we do a stream, maybe we'll
Yeah.
fire up Helldivers.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that one.
Yeah, looks cool too. There was actually apart from Cat Quest 3, which is probably right up there on the Cat Quest series is great.
It came out of nowhere. Like, I don't think any of us were expecting it. And
Yeah.
it's one of those like, oh, cool.
Yeah.
It's so fun.
Yeah.
Like they're just fun little games.
They're
Yeah,
delightful.
Yeah, they're amazing.
Yeah.
Apart from that, there was a couple games that I seen that piqued my curiosity. One of them was by Jade Raymond's Haven Studio called Fair Game, and it looks like a squad-based heist game where
It looked cool.
you're breaking into banks, and the science fiction-y stuff seems to be like very minimal. It looks like they're trying to keep
Rein
it
it
as
in.
rooted in like
Mhm.
advanced looking weaponry and stuff like that.
Yeah,
without going too crazy.
From what I saw, it basically made me feel like Rainbow Six or like otherwise Tom Clancy sort of style game. But you're the bad guys instead of the good guys.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Which I'm like, I'm here for that.
Hell
Right?
yeah.
We need more like we're the bad guys
I-
type stuff.
I think I would enjoy that.
Yeah.
I'm wondering too if there's going to be like where you'll have like a group that's playing as the criminals and then a group playing as like the security of the building. Or
That
whatever.
would be that would be a smart matchmaking mode if they did have that.
That'll be
Mm.
DLC.
Yeah.
It looks really interesting. A lot
It
of
caught
people
my
have been wondering what Jade Raymond and Haven Studio have up their sleeves, and even after Sony purchased the studio, I think it was late last year, early this year.
I think so.
They have Jade Raymond's got a great track record herself, and I can't really see them putting out a dud. So
It looked cool. I mean, as you say, it ticked all the boxes. It's not going too crazy down any of the weird paths. It just looks like a solid game.
Yep.
Whether or not I'll be willing to pay the $90 they want for it,
well, and who knows? Like maybe this will be one of those free to play things.
could
Like,
be.
Yep. We never know. But yeah, it'll be interesting.
Definitely
see.
interesting. Yeah.
And then the other one that really caught my eye was Phantom Blade Zero.
Yeah.
It's a hack and slash RPG. It's giving me like the Souls kind of vibe with the combat. But holy crap!
What?
It's a fusion. This is what the article says. It's a fusion of you go to this place called Phantom World, which is a place where Chinese kung fu, steampunk, and more converge. Fast-paced sword combat taking place in a bleak and punishing semi-open world. They didn't give a release date, but watch that trailer though. It looks sick. It looks really good.
When I saw it, I don't know that it's something that I would probably play, but I don't think I'll get excited about it.
Mm.
But when I saw it, I'm like, well, I know what Chad's going to tell me.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
That is right up his alley.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that one does look cool.
Yeah.
Sounds like it's going to be a sweary game.
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah.
Probably. And then Cat Quest Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yeah.
Caribbean.
They're all about these puns. Like
Yeah.
in the
I
game,
love it.
like the little purr puns or
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
It's great. But like I said, that series is if you just want a fun little game to play that's got really good gameplay, check out Cat Quest 1 and 2. You can probably get them both for maybe $15. Each one is less than $10, I believe, and it's on everything. They're on everything. It's worth it.
Yep.
I'd say check it out.
Yeah, they're cool.
Yeah.
I was actually just firing up Steam, but it's going to take too long to load. They go on sale fairly periodically.
Yeah.
As well, so
because I got it on Steam for like $3 when it was on sale. Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes you can get them dirt cheap.
Yep.
So out of a lot of these, was there anything that kind of caught your eyes?
Alan Wake 2 caught my eye. I haven't even played the first one, but I played through all of Control recently, and I kind of fell in love with that. And so now I just want to just immerse myself in that world a little bit more. So I'll probably end up playing the first Alan Wake game too, because it's very tied in.
And I probably have it on Xbox.
Probably have it on
library
Xbox.
Collection on the Series X.
I think you do, because I think I saw it and got excited.
Yep.
So I'll probably end up playing that, and then probably Alan Wake 2 at some point. And then The Plucky Squire. There wasn't a whole lot going on in terms of description for that one, but it looks like it's kind of an indie game and cutesy, and so it'll probably be a game I pick up at some point on some console or format.
Cool.
For the record, Cat Quest is not currently on sale, so I don't know that I would recommend buying it today, but there is a demo. So
yeah. It's still great.
Check it out.
Yep.
Buy it. Do it.
I mean,
support the developers.
I think it's probably still worth it, but check out the demo, and then if you like it, definitely play.
Yeah, there you go. Games need more demos. I am so happy that demos are coming back in style again.
I am thrilled that board game demos are
like
digital demos are a consistent thing now. Like I was looking at a couple of Kickstarters and I was thinking, well, back in a couple of them, and both of the ones that I was looking at were like, yeah, you can try it out right now as a virtual board game. It's like, fuck. Yes.
If they would offer it as like a physical and a virtual game.
That's what I really want. Although from what I understand, some of them just are still playable for free, even once the physical copies are out. I guess they just kind of like, well, if you like it that much, you'll buy it.
Yeah.
But I'm like, yeah, I'll pay, I don't know, $15-20 to get a digital copy if I like, give me a demo and I'll buy it if I like it. But it's the shipping and everything. Although the one that I was looking at in particular, I may still buy because the shipping was only like $20 on it. So that's not too bad.
Yeah.
That's the shame of being in Canada, although not nearly as bad as like New Zealand. The shipping to New Zealand on that chart was like $70 or something stupid.
Yeah. There was actually another one that I just watched too, called Perfect World Games Tower of Fantasy. It looks like I saw that. If you played I played Scarlet Nexus late last year, which was like an anime inspired kind of looking game, and really enjoyed it. This looks kind of something in that vein. Action adventure RPG kind of thing, so that looks cool too. I might check that out.
There was a Final Fantasy something
16.
Final Fantasy 16.
Yeah.
None of us are gonna play it, but I thought I'd be remiss if
I will
didn't.
Because apparently this is quite the departure from the typical Final Fantasy.
Is it not gonna be like $100 game?
Oh, it's gonna be $100 game,
but
okay. I meant like in terms of gameplay, because they the guy that did the combat for Devil May Cry is doing the combat for this, and apparently it's more of a hack and slash. So I think this one, and I could be wrong, but I think it's going to be this is going to be one of those Final Fantasies where people are either going to love it or they're going to hate it.
Yeah,
because it's not your typical Final Fantasy game.
Well, honestly, when you get to 16, I think that's I think that's fair.
Not including like all of the subgenres like Mystic Quest and Legend.
It's not the same as the other ones. Well, there are a few of those if you want to play them.
Yeah, go back and play those ones. It's okay.
The first 3 were pretty similar.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, that was there was a bunch of other shit announced, most of which whatever.
A whole bunch of games. I mean, go and check them out. Like, I don't think any of the rest of the games we care about, which isn't a judgment if you do care about them. It's just we don't.
They just didn't pique our interest.
Yeah.
Maybe something will happen later on, and one of us will be like, we'll give it a shot. But
when they come out, we might change our minds, right?
Yeah.
It's just like we're not going to be tracking them. We're not going to be looking for.
I mean, if it's on Game Pass too, it's like, what's the harm in giving it a shot?
I wasn't totally clear how many of those were exclusives. I assume Cat Quest isn't.
Spider-Man is.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Spider-Man,
Spider-Man
definitely
is, yeah.
Metal
Final
Gear. I
Fantasy
think the
will
Metal
be-
Gear Solid remake is.
Yeah, I would expect Metal Gear, Final Fantasy, and Spider-Man to all be exclusive
Yep.
for sure.
Yep.
Is
Helldivers,
AC?
I'm not sure.
AC Mirage is going to be on everything.
Okay.
Same with Alan Wake 2. That's going to
Yeah.
be on everything.
Yeah.
So-
Yeah.
So some of them, yeah, will
You
probably.
mentioned, you mentioned Game Pass too. You know what else is on Game Pass?
What?
The Mass Effects trilogy.
Is it my turn to rant?
Yes.
Yeah, Adrian.
Because I never
Adrian-
do that, you know.
Yeah, Adrian had a
No.
bad experience.
I never have strong opinions about anything.
No.
It's kind of it's a personality flaw. I admit I really should have some strong opinions now and then. So Mass Effect 3. So I was looking for some games to try out that would stress isn't the right term, but I have a decent gaming rig now for the first time in a while. I upgraded from a 2080 or a 2060 or something to a 4070. So I have a graphics card that can actually play games now. I did that for Kerbal Space Program too. But I'm like, I want to play some other games.
Yeah.
So I was looking at Game Pass and seeing what was available. And Mass Effect 3 was at the top of the list. And I'm like, well, it's not new, but like it's a decently graphical game. Let's give it a shot. So I don't know. It was like 100 gigs or something with all of the DLC that it downloads and everything else, which, you know, fine, whatever. I got a fast connection. It came down and everything's fine. I launched the game, and whether you can or can't, I couldn't figure out how to turn on the closed captions. So for understanding, I'm playing on the monitor here, and right now, for whatever reason, I don't have audio coming through this monitor. The HDMI splitter that I'm using, for whatever reason, Windows doesn't want to send audio through that. The Mac works fine, and the other Windows box works fine, but my gaming PC won't send audio over the HDMI. So I don't have sound. Even if I wanted it on, which at the minute I didn't because I was listening to an audiobook, but even if I wanted it, I don't have sound. I couldn't turn on the captions. So I'm going through and I create my character, answering questions that I have no idea how to answer. Like, do you want an RPG or an action or a story mode? And I'm like, I don't know what that really means because I haven't played the game. So like, I don't know. I picked the middle one because middle's always right. And then it's asking me other questions that I don't fucking know. So I'm like, whatever, just let me play the game. And then it launches into the cutscenes. And I'm watching these little guys on screen yipping and yapping and doing their thing. And then it starts asking me questions. I'm like, I don't fucking know. I don't have any audio. So I pick random option, fine. And at this point, I'm completely ignoring it because like I haven't got to play the fucking game yet. I don't even know if I'm gonna like this game. So I'm just letting it go and I'm doing something on my MacBook. And then I look over again and it's asking me another question. It's like, I don't fucking know. I rage quit and deleted the game after like 7 or 8 minutes of cutscenes before. Like, I never got to play the game. I still don't know if I'd enjoy it because I never got to fucking play it. And it pissed me off so much because I didn't buy I didn't buy anything. It was Game Pass. Otherwise, I'd be really pissed.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't buy a fucking game, or I didn't buy a fucking movie. I bought a game. I said this before, and we brought up Grid Legends, which I think does this right.
Yep.
I have a ratio of 5 to 1 is the acceptable value. So 5 minutes of play for 1 minute of cutscene. That's at the beginning of a game. So if you want to show me a cutscene, you goddamn better let me play the game before you show me the cutscene. Because if you just launch into cutscenes, I don't know if I want to sit through them.
Yep.
Or give you the option to skip them.
Or, yeah, right. If they were skippable, fine.
Yeah.
Definitely don't ask me questions that I don't know the answer to before I even get... Let me play the damn game. I mean, Atomic Heart was by far the worst for this. It was insane.
What a piece of shit.
So anyways, I rage quit, and someday I'll go back to Mass Effect when I actually have audio and everything else. Like, I'm sure it's a good game. Yeah. I'm sure I would enjoy it, but I rage quit. I was like, fuck this. I just wanted to play a damn game.
Yeah.
It's as bad as turning on the PlayStation or Xbox and having it be like, you need 15 gigs of updates before you can launch the store or something.
Yeah. We get that on our phones.
Yeah. Fuck. So I rage quit Mass Effect 3. And then Redfall, the vampire game, is on Game Pass.
Yeah. Thank God. Thank God, by the way.
So if you don't know anything about it, this game has horrible user reviews. And one of the reasons it has bad reviews is because it is unplayable on most systems. So I'm like, cool. I wanted something that would let my graphics card stretch its legs.
Yep.
Let's fucking go. So I downloaded the 120 gigabyte game.
What the?
Yeah, 120 gigabyte game. And I'm like, cool. I mean, fortunately, fast connection. That only took like 12 minutes or something. So rock on. I'm doing something in the background. It's fine. And I swear to God, I'd have to double check, but I swear to God, the Xbox, the Game Pass listing for it said it was single or multiplayer. I was sure it said that. And I get into the game and it's like, cool, host a game. Like, let's go. And it's like, your party's not ready. I'm like, what do you mean my party's not ready? Oh, I can't play single player. I can only play multiplayer. Well, I don't want to play with random people on the internet. That's not what I agreed to. So I ended up fucking deleting that game too, which is nonsense. So I never did get to try out any game that would stretch my graphics card's legs. You're looking at Redfall right now?
Yeah, so apparently Redfall features a robust single-player mode alongside optional co-op, and multiplayer aspects of the game.
So look, maybe I'm an idiot and there's an option somewhere that I didn't see, but like I just went like, I want to play.
Yeah.
And nothing. So maybe I was being an idiot that day, and maybe Mass Effect you can turn on the captions, and maybe Redfall has a single player, but I sure as fuck didn't see it.
Well, the sad thing about Redfall, the second they announced that, I instantly said skip, because I have no desire to play like PvP shooters of any kind. It's not my style of game.
Yeah, not really my style either.
Never been my thing. But it's a shame that you couldn't play the Mass Effect 3 multiplayer that they had, because that was great.
Yeah.
That was really good. And it literally, you select it from, I can't remember if it was like multiplayer or online was the option, but you select it, you pick a character, and then you're, boom, put right into a fucking game and you're rolling.
That's the way.
Yeah.
That's how it should be. That's actually why one of my favorite online games has been PlanetSide from back in the day. You can't play it anymore. I've mentioned it before on the podcast. You can't play it anymore because nobody's playing it, right? Mm-hmm. And it was an all-out brawl. It was a worldwide combat. So if nobody's playing it, it's not a game.
Yeah.
And PlanetSide 2 wasn't as good, and even that's now like crazy old. So but yeah, so anyways, Redfall, like I was sure it said single player. Maybe I'm an idiot, but clearly it's supposed to have a single player. So anyways, I deleted that. And then I got Besieged because it was like $6 or something. And,
also on Game Pass.
Okay. I didn't even grab it on Game Pass because I wanted the keyboard and mouse anyways.
Yeah, they have the console version of it. I don't know if it's on like the actual PC.
That's a good point. I didn't actually check. I mean, whatever. I didn't mind spending $6.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyways, like in the time that I ended up spending on Mass Effect 3, getting pissed off at it for not letting me skip the cutscenes, I was able to download, install, and play the first few levels of Besieged. And it's like,
it is on Game Pass.
Cool. I don't know why companies insist on front loading these fucking story I know I'm not a story junkie. I know there are people that are way more into story than I am. But how do you get invested in a story when I don't even know if I'm gonna like the fucking game yet?
Mm.
I would be even more pissed if I got introduced to the story and you took 10 of my minutes like telling me about the story and I got like into the story and I was like, this is cool. And then the game sucks. Because now I'm like, not only have you wasted my time, but now do I like slog through a game that I'm not going to like just to hear the story?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It blows. I don't get it.
Like there's some games where you just know, like a story mode in a Call of Duty game. It's like, okay, well, it's Call of Duty, so I know how this is going to play out.
Yeah, but they're usually skippable.
Yes. And that's the other thing too, is like if you're going to have like cutscenes and stuff, make them skippable.
Yeah, I wouldn't have cared if it was skippable.
Yeah, irregardless. There's been a few games where you can't do that. And that's such a...
Yeah, no, if it's skippable, I don't care. Throw in 30 minutes of cutscenes, I don't care. That's fine. Bonus points if they're skippable, but you can go and watch them after the fact.
Yeah.
Because there's games that do that, where it's like, it's in your inventory now. If you care later, you can rewatch it.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. Like Control has like audio and video things.
Yeah.
That you can, that are pickups, and you only need to do them if you want to.
Those are fantastic.
Yeah.
I love those, because then it's like, cool, you know what? I'm actually into this game and I do kind of want to know more.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like, I don't even know how long those unskippable cutscenes were. Maybe I was almost at the end of it. I honestly don't know, because I couldn't hear what the fuck they were saying.
Yep.
So anyways, this has been a bad week for me for video games. I basically played Besieged, and that's the only game that I've actually played that I liked. But I did play some board games. So
yeah, we did.
So
You played Alien Cat though too.
Oh,
you
yeah,
were telling
Alien
us
Cat,
about
that was weird. Yeah. So a while back, a long time ago, months ago,
Yes.
I mentioned that I had spent like $20 on like 20 some games or something like that.
Fucking Daddy Warbucks is big spending.
No, it was worse than that. I think it was like 23 games for like $12.
I think it was something. Yeah, it was something ridiculous.
This was one of those. I've every once in a while I'll try one of them. And Alien Cat, I thought it was like a Super Mario where you were a cat. And I think that's what they wanted it to be. I think this is a case of like a new developer that didn't really understand how to develop. So it's set up like a side scroller, and it feels like it should be a side scroller, but it doesn't scroll. It's just one screen. So it's pretty limiting. Like it could be a much better game. But it's like so fast. Like this is a reenactment of me playing it for the first time. I'm going to hit the over key. Just immediately into a pit. Like it was by far the fastest runner I've ever played. Like you guys said, like, oh, was it like Meat Boy? I'm
Super
like,
Meat
no,
Boy,
way faster. So like super twitchy controls. But it's kind of cool. You jump over obstacles, and like I picked up like a little helmet that allowed me to like reverse gravity and stuff. And you dodge the obstacles, jump on a couple of skeletons that are like Goombas, grab some coins, and then it opens a portal and you jump through the portal. It's a whatever.
Yeah.
I played like 20 some levels of it, so like it's decent, and it cost me I think 37 cents or something. It was below $1. So
yeah. You got your money's worth.
Yeah, hey, like I'm not complaining. I'll probably even play some more of it at some point. It'd probably actually be pretty good on the Steam Deck. But it was weird. It was like the combination of like I think the developer built it and had intended to do side scrolling, if just at a guess, and they couldn't like get it working. They couldn't get like the asset loading working or something. And then it was like too easy without the side scrolling mechanic. So they just like sped it up like way too much to make it hard. It's a weird game, but I got my money's worth.
That's good.
So I did get my money's worth on that one for sure.
So Sarah.
Yeah.
So how's 1985, and who is Theodora Time?
Yeah.
So yeah, Theodora Time is my 24-year-old character who grew up with parents that were deadheads. So she's grew up living in the bus, and now she's in Los Santos, and she's making friends with everyone.
That's right.
On the Ignite RP server.
Yes.
Yeah, and Sarah, are you going to be streaming this GTA 5 RP?
That is the hope. When we can get sound
As
shit.
soon as we figure it out.
Oh
yeah,
my
we're
God.
getting it, like we're close. It's just trying to solve the audio issue right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's a couple of issues that we're working through. So the audio, we're gonna figure that out. It sounds like you've got it mostly figured out.
Yeah.
And then we're also gonna see if we can get a slate graphics bump for you, because just for your own sake, because it looked kind of laggy.
Well, that was more like that was streaming from the PC itself.
Is it better when you're not?
Oh yeah, like on my side of things, it was a lot better.
Oh, okay.
There is a little bit of slowdown in like certain areas that there's a lot of people, like all textures disappear. But it's
that's not ideal.
No.
But no, it was funny because it was our holiday Monday there, and I was downstairs, and Sarah sends me a text message saying, "Oh my God, I'm I'm hanging out with Walnut Cast. Walnut Cast is a Twitch streamer who does a lot of GTA RP streaming.
Yeah.
So Sarah spent most of the afternoon rolling around with him, and she's laughing her ass off up there. And I'm just like, what the hell's going on? So I keep going up, and she just big grin ear to ear. She's just having a hell of a time.
Yeah. My character was just sitting at a table because I think I was doing something on my laptop separately because I just have a document pulled up with like extra controls because I forget everything. And right. And this character comes up because I had a skateboard on my back at the time. He had a skateboard too, and he's like, "Oh, that's a sweet skateboard. Can you do any cool tricks with it?" And so we just started talking and just like hung out, went and played pool, did some jobs, and then I'm like, I'm having a lot of fun with this guy because like you can do odd jobs around the city to earn money, because otherwise you just get a like $5 welfare check every 15 minutes or something.
Yeah,
it's amazing.
Love it.
And we were doing package deliveries, and so you can do it with two people where one person's driving the truck, the other person takes the packages up. So I was driving, he was taking the packages up, and he was like actually RPing with the NPCs, like talking to them or whatever, and like come back and be like, oh, that box was leaking a little bit, or doing something like that. And I'm like, this guy is great. And so I go into the Discord that we have for that, and there's a section where you can do just thanking people for good RP sessions. And so I'm looking him up, make sure I can find him. And then it pops up with Walnut on there, and I'm like, no,
I know that name.
I know that name. So I'm like over on Twitch, and I'm like typing, and I'm like, oh no, because he's an excellent RPer that's been around for a while and is well liked. And then I was like, oh my god, I've been playing for 2 hours and not knowing who I'm with. So I just spent the next couple hours just literally sweating. I was still having a blast, and the character was so dumb and so much fun. But he's friends with my character now.
It was really cool because I went over to his stream just as he was logging off, and Sarah was still on the server. And I just went in there and I was like, dude, I said, you have my wife in tears. She played Dora. And he was like, oh my God, that was your wife? He's like, so does she stream at all? And unfortunately, we didn't have a setup. But I said like, no, not yet, but she will be. And he was saying how great Sarah was. She was really funny. And she always found these like cool, witty ways to deal with his character's dumbness. And I had just mentioned like, well, yeah, she deals with her dumb husband on the daily. But
plus she played with Foley at one point.
Oh my God, yes.
And then it sucked too because he was going to send all of his he was going to send his community.
Like he was going to raid.
Yeah, he was going to raid Sarah,
but I didn't have my setup.
Somebody wasn't live.
So instead, watching their chat saying like, "We're coming over for dinner," and he's like, "Yeah, we're coming over for dinner." But yeah, no, he's a great dude.
Yeah,
I'm really glad that Sarah's first experience in the Ignite RP server was such a
positive one because even after he logged, he and I were hanging out with this random Siberian guy that we met in a pawn shop. And then I just spent another couple hours booting around with this guy and just ended up in weird situations with him. And that was a blast too. So like the community is just absolutely great there. And
she ran into, there's one streamer, Kyle, and he's an amazing RPer, but he was playing a cop that was drunk. And Sarah was at the
drunk
post office,
driving.
So he's drunk driving in a squad car. And he tries to park and he keeps backing up, but because he's drunk, right? And he's completely fucking it up. So he gets out with his baton and he starts yelling at everybody. And Sarah's just like, "Oh, maybe you should learn how to park." And he's like, "Well, where's your fucking car?"
Yeah,
love it.
Yeah,
it was great. It was good.
Yeah.
I'm gonna look into not because we have any specific plans, but because I kind of want to try this out. And I know for now, at least, you have some queuing times on.
Yeah.
We're going to see if we can set up a Dice to Pixels RP server. It will not be anything special, but we're going to see if we can get one running just here in the studio. Make it available to some people. We'll see. I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll figure all that out. But I'm curious, and I think I'm going to set something up.
Yeah.
It seems like the sort of thing I would enjoy, but I probably wouldn't. I don't think I could take it quite as seriously as I think I would break character way too much.
Well, then that's why you just make a stupid character.
Also fair.
Yeah, you just make a whatever character.
Yeah.
Because I originally had another character named Eunice, and she was supposed to be an elderly woman, and I had this huge big backstory with lots of detail, and then I went and played, and I'm like, I am incredibly restricted by the backstory that I have in my own mind here because of this.
Yeah.
And then I was just like, fuck it, I'm just gonna make this person and see what happens. She's friendly. She grew up with hippies. This is my character.
Yeah.
And it's kind of just developed from there. And she accidentally became Peanut. She's kind of Peanut. Not as naive as Peanut, but yeah.
I did also consider just making a character that microdoses LSD constantly, because then I could get away with screwing around.
You can do that.
You can do that. You can actually do LSD too.
Ooh.
There's actually drugs. Like
Yeah, I saw there was an update even to the mainstream GTA. They added some weird stuff.
Yeah, they have Quaaludes in this.
Yeah.
It just makes you walk around
Nice.
super drunk.
1985, man.
Yeah,
Yep,
hell yeah.
yep,
I was going to
yep.
say 80s. That's right.
Yeah, it's fantastic because they made changes to the server itself. So there's posters and advertisements that were actually in the 80s, like for Vans shoes.
Mm-hmm.
There's like Dare program stuff around. They've removed all of the modern cars from it as well to make it authentic that way. And yeah, it's really neat.
Well, one of these days when we get the Dice to Pixels server up and running and everything, we'll do a special podcast episode in GTA 5.
That would be
I mean, of course,
so much fun. Honestly, that would be
Right on.
so much fun.
Yeah, I think it'd be fun. Even if it's just a bonus episode, I think it'd be a lot of fun. Oh,
Yeah.
sorry, bud. With that,
Yeah, I'm not even going to get into what I did during my broken
well,
back week. So
what did you do?
laid in a couch or a bed and played the Steam Deck.
Did you play anything?
I slipped a disc, so that's why we weren't here last week.
Yeah.
But I'm better now, I hope.
Yeah.
Yeah, hopefully.
So I've just been playing Octopath Traveler 2 on
Yeah.
the Steam Deck. So
Yeah, I was gonna say that
That's
was what you would say. Liking it?
oh yeah, I love it. I love it. It's a great game. So
It's so pretty. The
yeah,
soundtrack for it is so
soundtrack's
good.
amazing. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, I've become more appreciative of soundtracks over time.
Yep.
Yeah.
Especially since I briefly tried to play GoldenEye again, 007. Oh,
We all did.
ugh. The sound on that. Ugh.
Yeah.
Anything
Yeah.
else?
No.
Then let's take it out. Thank you so much for watching. Hit like, hit subscribe, drop us a comment. Do drop us a comment because we actually love to see them. We read all of them.
Yeah.
I don't always get around to replying to everyone I mean to,
Mhm.
but we do always read them. It's not like there's an unmanageable amount of them.
No.
So we do see them. If you have any topics you'd like us to talk about, let us know if you're interested in GTA 5 or
What
any of
did
the
you
other stuff.
like from the PlayStation Showcase?
Absolutely. Let us know how excited you are about the earpods and how wrong we are. And we'll catch you on the next one.
Yeah.
Thanks.
See ya.
Toodles.